Can you hear me? Can I hear you now?
How you doing?
I can hear you now. That's good.
How's it
What's
going, mate?
happening?
Yeah, busy, same old. Rabbit holes aplenty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
put me on to co-work and now I'm a monster.
Really?
I'm thinking about upgrading to the $140 a month plan
Yeah. Wow.
or just doing pay as you go credits. I've canceled some subs. I'm phasing out Perplexity this week. Just trying to use up my credits there. I think the killer app for me is Gemini mixed with Claude. I think that's my thing.
So what have you been using Gemini for with Claude? Yeah. What do you use
Shopify
with Gemini?
optimizations. I've been creating all these little Shopify optimizations. That's a weird tongue twister to say
Combination.
fast.
Yeah.
So, and each one of these is like a $30 a month app on the Shopify store, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just custom coding them into my system with, you know, copy paste from Gemini. And it's been amazing. Like it created a short code system for me for because it was like, oh, the SEO report that I had was like your website doesn't have any blog articles and you're missing, you're missing a huge opportunity there, and it suggested, some gift guides and stuff. So I put those together, and then I'm like, okay, I don't want to just post articles. I want to be able to like dynamically insert, my top 10 best-selling books into this post or whatever, right? And so it's like, oh, there's an app that does that. It's like $30 a month. I'm like, how do we do it? And it's like, okay, here's the code, here's the short codes, and now I have a short code system. Like it's just like builds all these things for me. But Claude Cowork, right now I'm hitting the limit. Every time I use it, I hit the limit because I have it going through my entire database of images and cataloging them and coming up with keywords and occasions and descriptions and breakdowns of what's going on in every single cartoon. And there's like 2,000 to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other end, I'll have a database. Okay, so I'll give you the other things that I did. Pinterest, still a decent traffic source. I don't know if a lot
Uh-huh.
of people use it or not, but for me, it's been pretty good. And I actually have been buying Pinterest ads, and
Oh yeah.
they kind of work. They're not the best. I wouldn't say they're profitable for me, but they are, as a loss leader to bring people in, and some of them going over to Amazon. It's worth it. But what I did was, using Claude, I had it. I gave it. This is how Pinterest accepts CSVs to be created. New boards and pins to be created with a CSV document. Here's their sample CSV. Here's a CSV of all my books. And it had all these, it already identified. I said, tell me all the Pinterest boards I should create. And it gave me a list of like 20 different Pinterest boards. And I'm like, create the CSV for me with each Pinterest board, pick the books for each Pinterest board, populate the CSV. And so it's a one click import, creates like a whole bunch of Pinterest boards completely populated with my books. And it's like I should probably put the same book in at least three boards. It did it all for me. Just created the
Wow.
input file. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff. But I've been doing like hardcore search optimization. So I'm actually now, I don't know how, I'd actually be curious to see what this comes up at for you. But I am, for me, in the top 10 for signed funny books on Google. I'm going for funny books, but eventually I'm going for signed funny books, and it may not show up for you, or signed humor books. Signed humor books for sure. I'm coming up. I'm doing it in a private window just to see what it would do.
Yeah, you're not on the first page for funny. Not obviously here in the UK.
Try signed humor books.
Oh yeah, you're well up there on that. That's you are third.
Two or three? Third. Yeah. Okay. So I'm starting
So
to rank.
we've got yeah. So you've got a sponsored result. Then you've got another one that showed up on the previous search. Then you've got an eBay um, category. So you follow, yeah, you come in next right after the AI overview snippet. So yeah,
When I
you're
search
third.
signed funny books, I come up number four under signed funny books in Canada. But according to Claude, I'm number eight in the US. So still number page one, and
Mm.
one of the only authors with that landing page. Um, so I'm working on Google Shopping next. But yeah, I did some hardcore SEO stuff with between Claude and Gemini over the last couple of days. Little things like I got it to the point where because at first it was like, okay, you're missing an H1 tag on your homepage. Here's what you need to say. Reorganize your collections, create these article pages. We did all that stuff. And then I'm like, okay, do another. And the thing is that every time you say, give me an SEO report, it finds stuff. But now it's getting down to the nitty gritty. It's like, there's a couple blank fields in your schema. Go delete those. And, it's like, it's really getting down to like, your logo should be this format, not this format. And I'm like, okay.
Really?
But one of the, like, what's really cool about it is I have a local database of books in FileMaker. And I post everything directly to the API from there. And so it's like, oh, every single one of your books is missing an alt text for the image. So I'm like, okay, here, what should it say? And it's like it should just say what it is. So I just had like FileMaker create a field that's like the book title plus cover image, and then that's a new field called Shopify alt text. And then with one button, it posts everything. It updates all the products on Shopify. Takes about 200 seconds, and then it's like because it has to take a 1 second break between each API call, or else it'll get throttled later. I think when it gets to like 40, it starts to slow it down. But if you take a second break between each one, you can pretty much use it unlimited.
Mhm.
And so, I updated all the alt text and updated all the meta descriptions. And then it's like you're missing tags. And so I'm like, I give the whole CSV to Claude, and I'm like, come up with
Do
tags
it.
for these books. And
Mm.
here's your updated CSV. It just keeps updating the CSVs that I give it, and it's flawless. So I'm getting to that point where I'm like, I'm every time I'm like, oh, I got to take a break from Claude, and I try and run it on my images when I'm not working on it. But I don't know if I should buy. Maybe you have the answer for this. Should I buy the more expensive plan monthly, or should I buy credits?
I think for what you're doing at the minute, I just stick with credits because ultimately,
I'm going to
I,
get through
I
the
may
the
be
bulk of it.
I may be wrong, but yeah, ultimately over the next week or two, the bulk of the mass data stuff will be done.
I think so, but maybe not.
Well,
Because then I'm going to
yeah,
have
but
all my
what?
images database, and I'm going to be able to say, help me come up with ideas for memes and cards using these images. And
Yeah, but then if I'd go. I can't see you spending more than $140 on top up credits in the next month to get that done. Can you?
mhm. I don't know. I've never bought credits from them, so I don't know what that looks like.
Yeah,
But
I have, and obviously they stay on your account. So, I was in the middle of something, three-quarters of the way of something, creating a book or whatever it was, and just shoved $10 on, and I've still got a good portion of that $10. I'm not entirely sure how intensive your stuff is compared to that, but yeah, I wouldn't bother for now. And then if in a month or 4 or 5 weeks time you're still hitting, then
okay,
but I'd like to think the mass sheer token in and out should come down after you've done this you're not going to be for the next 3, 4 months doing such intensive work as you're doing. Surely you're going to get to a point where it's coming up with new ideas and it's working off what it's the massive work it's already done for you, right?
I don't know. I mean, you know, it's. I thought I was. I feel like the more I use it, the more I find ways to use it, and that has me thinking. Okay, there's probably um there's probably going to be an unlimited fountain here because once I
What
have
else
the
does it
image
give you?
database,
I haven't looked at it. What else does the 140 give you aside from more usage
I don't know.
and speed? I
That
would imagine. I would
that's
imagine it
it just keeps
prioritizes.
telling me, hey, you know, upgrade. This is what we got. But then I'm like, maybe I should just
Mm,
pay as I go, or just I don't know. Maybe if I can always downgrade, I can buy the month 1 month at a time, and I'm not going to pay for an
yeah.
annual. That's for sure, and buy any AI annually. But yeah, it's been kind of eye opening, and it's very. I'm amazed at what it's able to do, and then I'm like, okay, you know, you did like the first round of images, it was converting them to PNGs, and then I'm like, what if I do this for you? And it's like, yeah, it'll save you some time. So I'm like, ran a script to convert all the PDFs and PNGs for it so that like that part's done and trying to, you know, reduce like whatever I can do on my Mac beforehand with automation I'll do. But yeah, um I've
Well,
gone down the
here's
rabbit hole
what it
since our
says.
last talk.
Here's what it
Okay.
says. Up to 20 times more usage than Pro. This is for Macs, yeah.
Yeah.
Recommended for Claude code and co-work. Early access to advanced Claude features. Higher output limits for all tasks. That's an important one
Okay.
because you're going to be able to do more each
Have you
time.
connected Claude to AWS?
No,
Okay.
no.
Because I connected
One of
it
the
to
rabbit holes.
AWS.
Yeah.
And I haven't actually used it yet, but I want to see if I can actually just say make a new bucket, you know, and I want it to be a public HTML bucket website, you know, whatever, and have it see if it'll make it for me and do all the permissions and everything because that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do that. And the last one, it says priority access at high traffic times.
Okay.
So you're getting, yeah, you're getting
And if
20
you buy
times more
credits, you're
usage.
not getting that any of that. You're just getting more usage.
So you're not getting higher output limits for tasks and you're not getting high traffic priority access. They're the two things it gives you.
Okay. Do you
So
think those things are worth? I mean, again, this is only it's a month to month thing. It's not like
yeah,
I'm
you're not tied in. Higher output limits for what you're doing would be useful, definitely, because
okay.
you're going to be able to do more stuff without having to keep being involved. And yeah, I've had Claude where it's limited my usage and it's slower and whatever. So yeah, you know what? For the money, maybe while you're doing the maths, just do it for a month and see.
Yeah.
Fucking $140. It's what is it? $120 difference. It's yeah, maybe for all the stuff you are doing, within a month you'll know, won't you, whether hey this is really worth it or not.
It wrote all the copy. I had it. I think I told you I had it write copy for 93 books. So
Mm-hmm.
I put all the books, I took all the books that didn't have any description copy at all. And that was a huge flag in my SEO. So I was like, okay, here's all the books. You know, because I have them in a database, it's really easy. I'm like, here, you know, spit all the PDFs into a folder with the right book names and everything. And here's a date, you know, here's the CSV, update the CSV. That's all it has to do it's just taking my CSV and populating it with new information. But it's like, okay, look at the PDF of the book, then update the CSV. And, you know, here's the formula to follow for the copy. And it's all kind of done. And, you know, like I gave it the KDP outline, you know, guidelines, everything that it needed. And I kept expecting it was going to hallucinate somewhere in the middle or it was going to screw up somewhere in the middle, and it didn't. It just, it was the output was again, I'm not going to sit there and write convince and convert sales copy for every single book. It's not
Yeah,
very few people are reading it, and if they are, I'm proofreading it, but
yeah.
it's literally just there to to tell you what gift occasions it's for and all that kind of stuff. So, it's work that I'm never going to sit there and write 93 3,000 character descriptions.
Yeah.
So it did that for me, and it did it so well. It followed those instructions because I already had it in another chat that it was doing the job, and I'm like, write the prompt for co-work, and it spit out the prompt for co-work, moved it over, and it just did an amazing job.
Like I said to you,
So,
I prefer Claude for copy related, anything writing related. So this, I think I told you before, this Bookmax Pro book writer I've got, which is a writing assistant. It doesn't just go and write it, you guide it through. And I think we talked about this before, and I had like my for anything that's not just a quick thing,
mhm.
70/30. I've got a template I give it when it first starts. So it writes 70% and it takes 30% input from me, chapter by chapter. And even going through that process, it's a 3 hour process to have an entire book done. And it's a lot better than ChatGPT for writing. So at the
Yeah.
minute, I use my stack is Claude is my default. ChatGPT I use for all images still. I know you use Gemini for images, but I really do like ChatGPT's images, um, and Grok. But I mean, and Grok I'm using for certain things. So I'm using Grok for a bit more different ways of thinking. But yeah, I mean, I think I told you last time I had it. I told you this. I had it convert 60 prompt packs and convert them to skilled, and then I told you that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's gone and done me a bunch more, and then yeah, it is epic what it does, and I just don't. I'm definitely seeing it on socials, well, on my timelines, which is heavily obviously AI targeted. That Claude is there's a lot of stuff going on with Claude, but like, again, I do like Grok, definitely the Super Grok, which is through the X $40 a month or whatever. That's yeah, that's really good for a few of the rabbit holes I'm going down that are not perhaps quite as conventional.
Yeah.
And I was asking it for opinions on branding of something, the pigeon related betting. And it's quite interesting that as with anything that's quite important, which this was, I start with ChatGPT, Claude, and Grok. And I ask them all the same stuff and I compare notes. And what was quite interesting about Grok is, well, first of all, what was interesting about ChatGPT and Claude was a few of the suggestions for names in the top 10 were the same, which I thought was quite interesting.
Hmm.
Grok's were very different. But then when I started going down the finer details of interrogating it about certain ideas and naming things, it disagreed with, it was completely different to the other two, completely. And I thought that was quite interesting. Now, as it turns out, I actually I went with Claude. I've got another naming thing for another rabbit hole I'm into, which I haven't properly started yet. We talked about the AI adult stuff, and that's been a really interesting example. I think one of the most powerful things Grok has done for me research wise is it's given me an entire research report on that whole industry, the AI side of that industry, and sourced projections for its growth between now and 2030.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Gabby because I was, as usual, like 2 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm like, check this out. I just sent her the Grok thread. And yeah, so they're my, and I do occasionally use Gemini. Increasingly started using Gemini a little bit more because I got so tired of using Brave browser. I used Brave when it launched because I like the idea of getting free crypto for browsing, but that's a waste of time now. And about 3 or 4 times, I'm like, I'm getting very close. And the ridiculous thing, it's obviously built on, it's Chromium, it's built on Chrome, but it began being a real pain in the ass. So I lost my shit one night about a week ago, and I'm like, I am done. I am spending the next hour or whatever it takes moving back to Chrome. So as
Yeah.
a result of that, obviously I am exposed more to Gemini, and I have started using it. But
I
yeah,
use it for
that's
code. I mean, more than anything, Gemini has been consistently good at writing code for me. Shopify liquid code, HTML that's highly dynamic, like it wrote that path sum game for me. It's done so many things for me. It writes FileMaker code and scripts for me, and it's so good
have you
that
tested Claude with asking it to do the same thing as you would Gemini as a test or
I have not, but the problem is now is that Gemini is familiar with the work. So
yeah, it
it's
knows your
like it
shit.
knows
So
exactly what
it's the
I'm
same as like
doing.
moving
Yeah.
anything, yeah. But that's the same about how I was with ChatGPT, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm
I
glad.
mean, I could try it, but yeah, just haven't.
Well, if
I've
ever
ended
you
up
do
using them for
try
different
it,
things.
ask it to do you an entire .md file on everything about a particular thing. So when I moved, I said, right, I'm going to really pound Claude hard. A personal MD file about me and every major business or website or project, and I got it to create an MD file, which I just threw straight into Claude and said,
That's a skill
"Here's
file. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah." So it's essentially just a massive packed information about that one particular subject. And yeah, I just put them in. And I said, right, here's the skill file about this subject.
Right.
Enter it into memory and reference, and that worked really well. That's how
Okay.
I won't say it's not 100%, but it's somewhere near. So yeah.
Okay.
And what I also do now is every couple of weeks I update all of the three I use mainly on like a. Sometimes I'm prompted by if it calls something that's not relevant anymore, I'll tell it. But I do every couple of weeks do a brief update as to this is not on anymore, this is done type stuff. And I find
Right.
that useful as well. But what I was thinking there is I wonder, and I haven't had time even to do it anymore with Hermes, but I was wondering how you could even take it up another level using Hermes with Claude and Gemini.
Hmm.
Because
I'll tell
like,
you what I'm working on. I'll tell you what I'm working on this week with Claude,
go on.
and I haven't. I'm 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 putting it. I'm saying it because last week I was zero with it, and I've come pretty far since talking to you. Because
Mhm.
I'm like, I asked you to help me figure out how to use it, and you gave me some
Mhm.
ideas that got me to the ideas,
Yeah. Mhm.
and which is super helpful. But what I want to do now is, and some this is part of me is, so if I'm going to spend the money on the upgrade, I'm going to spend the money on the upgrade. And I've been planning in my head because I'm sometimes I like to buy stocks, and so I've been like I went through this exercise for a while where I had two investing accounts. I had one where I was picking the stocks and another one where I used a company called Wealth Simple. And
Mhm.
for a long time I was beating them, and then somewhere they use algorithmic trading, and then somewhere out of the blue they started beating me, and so I stopped buying the stocks as much because I'm like, okay, if this automated fund can beat me picking stocks, then I should not put in the work.
Mhm.
But I still do like to buy them once in a while, and so I thought, how hard would it be to create, a Claude code or Claude cowork agent that wakes up every morning. And okay, I specifically say, here are the sectors I want you to look at. I want you to look at, penny stocks, Canadian penny stocks in the mining sector. I want you to look at pharmaceutical stocks. I want you to look at and scour news articles, scour X, scour all these different sources, and pick three for me to buy every morning.
Hmm.
That's it. No, this is just a fun little game.
Yeah,
But then I also thought, how hard would it be to have it do something like that in crypto, where I could have it pick meme coins or have it pick some other
not
thing?
that difficult.
No.
And if you do it, I'll piggyback off what you do with crypto anyway.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, that's where then Hermes would come into its own because you can automate a lot of that stuff. You can get notifications come through on Telegram, so you don't have to be there. All kinds of stuff. You could even arrange it where you can instigate. I'm not quite sure if you could do it right now, but very soon you'd be able to initiate the buys from Hermes.
That would be ideal.
But
Have
but
it do the
yeah,
buys and sells.
I haven't had time to go down it yet. But I do know based on the kind of rabbit holes you're going into now,
This
Hermes
is
will
me. This
probably
is me
be.
trying to take the Ferrari out of doing Uber Eats and and use the Ferrari to run a proper race and win
Yeah.
money. I'm trying to figure
Mhm.
out how to level up the like all this stuff has been great, and I all this stuff's been on my to-do list. This Shopify
Yeah.
optimization that I've been doing for the past 2 weeks has made a huge difference. I can already see the SEO value coming up. I can already see,
It just takes
you know,
time
the
to
the
translate to dollars in your bank. Whereas
it
what you're
does, but
talking
at the
about
same
now,
time, it's like I'm planting seeds now for Christmas, right?
yeah,
Everything I do
yeah, of
now is
course, yeah,
about Christmas 26.
yeah.
So, that's where that is. So that those seeds are planted. But now I'm like, okay, how can I take this Ferrari and use it to the highest level possible? Even if I'm only putting a couple $100 a day into these stocks, if
Hmm.
it picks one winner,
Hmm.
one, and the same with crypto, right? So it's like if it can, if I'm able to use its power to go out and scour everything out there and make educated guesses based on criteria that I think that's the part is like, coming up with that prompt slash skill file, and any help
I
you
haven't
have
got the
there would,
answers yet, but
okay.
if you start the work, the more I get into the Hermes stuff, which I plan to, um, I'm sure there's stuff out there that can help with that. I'm very keen to tap into the automated crypto stuff. I'm not into stocks at the minute, but yeah, I know you are. But it's the same thing. So it's the same principle, really,
The
in just
stocks are
slightly different
easier. It's
criteria.
lower hanging fruit because it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
it's public news. It doesn't move as fast as crypto. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, here's your picks. You buy them, you kind of just sit on them for a while. But
Mm,
to me, that's kind of a fun play to say, hey, give me three stock picks every day, and I go look at them myself and decide which one I think is the best, or which two, or all three.
mm-hmm.
And like one of them has to be a penny stock, so that it's because those have
Mm-hmm.
massive potential or can go to zero, right? But if you put $100 in a penny stock and it goes up massively, that's
Mm-hmm.
where weird shit can happen.
Mm-hmm.
I actually bought SpaceX stock last week
Really?
just because I want to own it.
Mm.
Because I
I
believe in
definitely think. I definitely think. Well, one that would be really interesting to see how you do with it. Just like you say, simply suggest me three stocks on this criteria.
yeah.
And then the natural evolution of that is automating it to where you're comfortable with. But definitely the stuff you're doing now, again, I can't tell you exactly how yet, but definitely I can imagine you being using Hermes in the next 2 or 3 months, and I'll take the lead on that because
Yeah, I want to know how to use it.
it's yeah, interesting stuff, isn't it? But yeah, so is that this coming weeks in addition to what you're doing for the books and stuff? Is that this week's plan to figure it
Hopefully
out?
in the next week. Yeah, I mean, I want to get the book stuff done before I get. What's going to happen is I'm going to get bored of the Shopify stuff. But each time I run this SEO report, it's definitely getting down to the place where it's like, okay, we're scraping the barrel for stuff now, which is good. There's always something to fix on your website. It's never perfect, right? But when it starts saying, hey, there's artifacts in the code, it's less for you to worry about. Where it's like, hey, your schema is missing this or whatever. This field is shouldn't be there or whatever. Um, and it even says like, Google doesn't usually care, but okay. So we're getting to that point. And I even sat there and updated all the copy on all my Amazon listings one by one because I couldn't automate that. There's no automating that. There's no API for KDP. But yeah, it's so we're getting to that point, and then the next is just the image database. Turning that into something that can actually be crawled, and then saying, "Here's the image database. Help me come up with memes, cartoons, T-shirts, whatever." And I may even take those prompts. So here's my cartoon. All I want is the text top bottom, and put that into like Ideogram has a batch system too. So I may start running like batch t-shirt creation and stuff like that because it's Claude was smart enough to say, okay, I'm looking at these images and these images have the name Peggy Peggington in them, and here's your catalog of books. You have a book called Peggy Peggington, so it categorizes that image in that book. So it's like it's like putting things in the right buckets for the most part. So it's doing the job of a research assistant, an intern.
Very cool, mate.
I want it to be my financial advisor,
Yeah,
my
do that as well.
stockbroker.
Well, I'd be interested to see if you do upgrade to Pro
I'm
and see
going
how you
to. I
get
think
on
I'm
with
going
it.
to today. I think I'm going to today.
I can see a point at some point where I'm going to have to do it. I'm just not there yet.
My friend, my
But yeah,
friend
it'd be
Mark is
interesting.
using Pro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is fascinating, isn't it?
he's doing stuff with it that I wouldn't do though. He's like, "Oh, I gave it all my bank statements and credit card statements," and I'm like, "I wouldn't. I'm
Yeah,
not
he
doing that.
said, yeah, he said he was
I'm not
doing
doing
weird
that."
stuff with it. Yeah, but well, that's pretty impressive in a week. We
Yeah,
only spoke
considering
about it
this
9 days ago.
Wednesday last week, I said to you, I don't know how do I use this, and you were like,
Hmm.
you started kind of, and you you helped me to get to the idea of the first idea, which was the copy and the image database, and that's really what
Mm.
I mean. That triggered a whole bunch of other things,
That's the
you
thing with
know.
it. You do one thing, you think of 10 more things you can do. That's you
I
can
have,
soon.
I have this database of products, right? It's like
Mm.
171 products, and it's like there's so many pieces of it that it needs, right? It's like, oh, we it needs tags. Okay, intelligently tag everything, and it's like so it's going through and it's really like it's doing stuff that I would never have done. Or if I had an intern, I would pay them to do, and they would probably not do as good a job. I used to pay somebody. I used to have a full-time person when I had Vector Tunes, whose job it was to write a description and come up with keywords for every single image we created. And
Oh,
and it was like not great,
it's
but
the same for me back in the day. I
this
used
AI
to,
is just like we do this, this is what we do.
I yeah, like back in the day, I used to hire a lady called Val, and her entire job was to think of 5,000 porn site names a month. I mean, come on. But again, different times. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah. Well, cool. That's really cool. Yeah,
You know what else is
I've
back?
been.
Sorry, one more thing. What you know what else is back? I've been using this Publer to publish more clips. which has
Hmm.
helped. I'm up to 3.5 million views on Instagram this month, and Instagram is my number one driver of sales to my website right now.
Right.
Um, and Publer is doing the publishing, but interestingly, Spintax is back. Do you remember Spintax?
Mm.
So it's still a big thing with these publishers. So Publer has it's like you can use Spintax in your
Oh, wow.
captions. And a lot of my stuff is like roughly the same. So I went to Gemini and I'm like, create a Spintax formula for, here's like, because it's always like, try not to laugh challenge with this hilarious blah blah blah,
Mm.
reactions on Omegle. It's always kind of the same roughly, and I'm like, but it needs to be different each time. And Gemini created the Spintax for me, and I just put it into Publer, and it's like amazing captions for these videos every single time.
Wow. So Pobler's working well for you at the minute.
Yeah, and I have my own. I wrote my own YouTube bulk uploader, so I have that on my desktop, and then I use Publer for Instagram and Facebook. I may eventually move that in house, but it's a little harder to interact with their API. But I'm probably gonna because I don't. My goal is to have less subscriptions, but for every one I cancel, I seem to be. It's like, oh, I got rid of this $10 a month, and now I'm going to spend an extra 120. So I gotta
Mm.
like.
Well, you
But
get
it's okay if
Gemini.
they.
You get Gemini. I mean, I get Gemini with because all of my email goes through Google. So that's how I get Gemini because I pay for the workspace stuff.
Yeah, I have
So I
Google
have
One.
got, yeah. So,
It comes with five
um,
terabytes of storage and Gemini and Workspace and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah. Well, based on what you've been doing, it's definitely sounds like it'll be worth trying the higher level stuff. Huh.
I need to learn the skills files though. I think that's my next thing as well is like figure out how to create the skill for this um stock researcher because that I don't really know a lot about. Um so I want it to
Huh.
be able to, I want to be able to give it an intelligent prompt. So I don't know if I should ask Claude to help me come up with that. Say, hey, go to the chat and say, hey, I want to create this assistant that, does stock research for me. You know,
Let me
here's what I know.
let me send you over. I haven't got it. It's on ChatGPT at the minute, but let me convert it to a skill file. So I was actually covering this on Tuesday with my guys. I'm like, don't forget the prompt wizard GPT that I've got that you can feed it in whatever prompt you would give it, and it will give you a very comprehensive prompt back. And then so I haven't got that as a skill, but I can easily convert it to a skill to send you. And then you take whatever it spits out. And so, like, I created a skill to be able to create skills.
Yes, you told me that.
So, yeah, I'll get that. It needs to be a skill file anyway to be able to use on Claude. But
Okay.
and then you could take that, put it into Claude with the criteria already in there, and
Do you
then
technically just take like API docs and rename them as .md and say, here's your skill file?
no,
Or
no,
no?
not as simple as that. But what all I did is I said, right, you've got all that info now, make it into a fully formatted skill file. And that's what I
Okay.
did. Yeah, I don't know how to write skill files myself. So yeah, I'll send that over to you because it's quite impressive. Actually, it's one of the first GPTs I ever put out. I didn't write the back end to it. It's one of the first GPTs I ever put out, and it's pretty impressive what it does. So I'll do that because with the kind of specific stuff you want for this next project, I think you know as well as I do, the best prompt you can start with is always good. So yeah, I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Okay. Perfect.
Um, like I say, I've just got a skill now where I literally feed the instructions of a GPT and it spits out the skill file a minute later.
Amazing.
But yeah, so huh.
Oh,
Well,
I want
I'm
to show you
now
something. I
really
bought something. I bought something
gone.
this week. You're gonna love them. I indulged.
Oh, are they good?
Yeah, I bought the version 2 Pro Max. Um, the noise canceling is amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing.
Have you ever used
So
Bose?
I have, yeah, I have. I decided I
I've got
was on the
the
fence. I was looking at
Bose.
Sonos, I was looking at Sony, I was looking at Bose, and the Apple are the most expensive. And but
Mm,
apparently they have the best noise canceling and the best conversation awareness and all this other stuff. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna buy the thing because I also bought an Apple TV for the living room,
uh-huh. Cool.
and it works well with the AirPods. So
Nice. Yeah,
yeah,
I have the Bose ones. But also, I don't use them that much. I kind of use them if I'm traveling or whatever. I don't like stuff over my head when I'm doing calls like this. I don't like that. I much prefer to just use the AirPods, whatever they're called.
me too. But I like it when I'm coding and when I'm working, like doing deep work. I
Uh-huh.
like the noise. I'll put on like sometimes I just put on the noise canceling and no music, just like
Uh-huh.
raw dog in it and silence, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it just creates that like
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
calm that I need, you know.
I had one of my most productive weekends last weekend. Gary was away. I'm not saying that's why, but partly why. And yeah, I was incredibly productive Saturday. And then Sunday I was outside all day, which was nice. I did like 10 hours outside sorting through business. So I had a really good day. But I've never tried that, just putting the noise cancelling on. I might try that sometime.
Yeah, when
Hmm.
you're doing the deep work, it seems to help.
Mm. Well, I'm now really quite keen to see what next week brings now. That's quite exciting.
You push me into this. I'm like you mentioned it a couple more times. I'm like I need
Mm.
to ask you how to use
Mm.
this, and you've sort of
Well, as I say,
you
once
open
I
the
get more
door.
into opening Claude and Claude co-work up to Hermes is something I'm going to be doing. So once I get a
That I
bit
need to
more
know
into it,
about because I'm
yeah,
not going to touch
yeah,
that until you show me how.
no, no, no. But I just haven't. It's been a bit of a weird week. I've been so busy in some ways. Um, well, I've been really busy, but beginning of the week was a bit weird and shit. So I one of my best friends died on Monday,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and
Who
yeah, yeah.
who was it?
Stan, his name is Stuart Stangler's name is, yeah. He
How old was he?
61. Mm.
How did he die?
Don't quite know yet. He was found on the floor outside of his bed.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, that was a big shock of a phone call to get. So yeah,
shit. Yeah.
not good. But I'd messaged him happy birthday a few weeks before, but yeah, that was a real big shock. Up in 61. I met him 18 years ago whilst at Her Majesty's pleasure.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, it was one of my best friends, and yeah, weird. So that kind of knocked me Monday, and then I just thought, well, you've
Yeah.
got to get back into it. There's nothing you can do. But yeah, outside of that bump, I've been on fire. But it's weird how things happen. You know what it's like. So I've known a guy. I don't know how long I've known him. I've known a guy for quite a while, and he called me up. I think he called me up the Thursday, and he said, "Listen, I've our tax system over here is completely changing. Um, the government or HMRC are um, forcing people over 3 years at different levels of earnings to. The initiative's called Making Tax Digital,
Hmm.
um, and instead of filing a yearly return if you're self-employed or a contractor or whatever, now you have to do it quarterly and then file your final at the end of the year. And he called me up and he said, "Look, I got hundreds of people that I've been doing this service for, but I am dead in the water because two people that I've already spoken to said they could help me and they haven't. And there's a deadline of 32 days or whatever it was at the time." So I went off to him and I said, and I'm just thinking, yeah, I'll spend an hour or so looking at it, help him out. And if he wants me to help him out, um, and I hate everything tax, accounting. It bores the crap out of me.
Same.
I mean,
Same.
you know. So yeah, I did some investigation and I called him up and API stuff. HMRC have API access and whatever. Uh, and I explained to him. I said, look, you know, I can help you do it as a just as a. I was thinking just as a consultancy deal and whatever. And halfway through the conversation of me explaining what needed to be done, he's like, um, one second. I don't know why my DND is not working on my Mac. That's really weird. Halfway through the conversation, he's like, would you be interested in coming in on this with me if you can build the systems? And I'm like, and I know how many people he's got. He's got hundreds of people already that he does this for. But as of the 7th of August, that business is dead unless he's got systems in place. So I thought about it. And also with Gabby and her background with finance and accounts and all that stuff. So I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I put some work into it, but it's kind of like one of them things where like, so it's like, I think the rules are if you earn over £50,000 a year, if you bring in 50 grand a year, it kicks in next month. 30,000 is the following year, and anybody after that is the year after that. So within 3 years, there's potentially just within the clients he's already got 450 people.
Okay.
So I kind of gone down that, and I never thought I'd see myself. And I look at it like, and I said to him, look, you know, the goal here is just to automate the crap out of it to where it's systemized. It's at most, it's a 2-minute check, process, click box, check box, whatever. And so the idea there is it's just a service that I won't be like the public face of it. I'm be running the systems and at most building our own APIs down the line. And I found quite a good solution to bail us out of the crap until that can be done. Tested it all out, spent an hour testing it all out yesterday. And yeah, so it's just one of them other things that comes up. It's not sexy. It's not interesting at all, really.
Side quest and quick cash. Sometimes you got to do that.
Hey, you know, like the thing is so my son works for a mid-sized construction company in the county. And I said to him, how many contractors does your company have? And he's like, I don't know, 500 to 600. So they're all going to fall under this within the next 2 years. They're all making over 30 grand. So hundreds and hundreds of people are affected by this, and it's imposed. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to so either you have to have the technical skills to do it yourself or pay somebody. So we priced it really with the idea that it's going to be automated. We priced it really competitive. And yeah, I mean, like bank account company and all that stuff set up this week. And come Monday, money should start coming in. And with the job is infinitely easier than it would have been. So yeah, it's just one of them weird things that's come up. And I said to Gabby, I'm like, well, if you want to help get involved in it, you're not going to be sitting there looking at accounts all day. Screw that. But if I can build the systems, which I'm pretty sure I can, to automate it, systemize it, checks and balances, and then, so it could be I mean, at the minute, it's a 50, 60 grand a year business to him, and he literally spends, I would guess, 2 weeks a year, hard work,
right,
type thing, because obviously it's, at the minute it's every April and that's it. But now, so yeah, that's just one of them weird things that's come up. But then again, coming back to AI, and again, I use Claude for this. I said, here's the situation. Here's the deal, tell me everything. And the first solution it gave me for the bridging into HMRC's API, I've ended up using. It gave me 10. I looked through them all. skim read them all, most competitive, gone. You know, so yeah, and then I mean, literally like the holding because the holding website for it and all that. I mean, literally 20-minute job, and it's done really well. So yeah, Claude's been a big help to me this week for a very different, stroke boring thing, but there's
Sometimes you have to, leverage your knowledge for cash to help other people. I've done it. I do it all the time, and
yeah.
it's like
Well, this geezer's
sometimes
blown
I've
away
had people
by
come to me and they're like, "Hey, can you ghost produce a book for me or whatever?" And it's like, "Yeah, here's the price for me to stop doing what I'm doing."
mm,
And sometimes it's worth it. And it's like, you're chugging away trying to do your thing, and then someone comes along with a task and you're like, "This is kind of easy. I can do
mm.
this." And why not?
Well, it gives you an idea that this is not doing him down. Everybody's their own, but he's never used ChatGPT ever.
Most people haven't.
So so the guy is blown away a few times. He's like, "You work really fast, and I can't believe where we've come in a week." I'm like, "Yeah, it's
That's how it should be.
the way that's the way I roll." But yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the. I said to Gavin last night, we went out for a drink, and I said, "It's the kind of thing where you can see it in 2 or 3 years' time. It kind of takes care of everything because it is imposed. That's the thing." Everybody has to do this. If you're employed, self-employed, or a contractor, and you have to submit at the minute a yearly tax return, which I don't have to do because I've got a company and my accountant deals with all that crap. I've got no interest in doing that stuff. But yeah, thousands, tens and tens of thousands of people in the UK have got to do this at some point. And he sent me a screen cap of a return he did for somebody that was in the middle band. And it says on the page after you submitted your shit, based upon the figures you've given us this year, you will have to submit. You will have to register with this next.
It's
So we
terrible. It
just
sounds like
set
a
up
make
with
work project. I don't understand why they have to do it quarterly. It's just that's just dumb.
who the hell knows what this government does anymore. But yeah, so where there's an opportunity there. So it's great because our pricing structure is going to be monthly,
Yeah.
quarterly, or yearly. They get a discount for yearly, and I said to Gabby, I said, year or two's time, it's the kind of business you can see that is really boring. But I do genuinely, I say it's boring. I mean, the subject is boring. Anything to do with tax and the government, as you know, I hate. But from an actual developing the systems point of view, and I've learned some stuff this week. So when I had this temporary holding page, launch page for the business, I actually used Simon Hodgkinson's sales page GPT skill thing for that. And all I did is I gave it a couple of the documents I've been working on for the business, gave it the logo, gave it 4 images that ChatGPT had created for me, and said, make me a website saying our service is launching soon. And then it went and put a form in the bottom for anybody that was interested in the service. I've looked at this form and I'm thinking, fuck it. That was like all these different check boxes and fucking fields I've got to go and set up. And it said integrate your form here. And then it said in brackets, we suggest you use, I forgot what it was called. I want to give it a shout out because it's really impressive. And I'm actually going to be using it as part of what we're doing. 1 second. Oh, my brain is formspree.io.
Okay.
So it's got all these different fields and stuff. And I'm like, this is going to take ages to, like old form builders are, in multiple choice and all this stuff. None of that. Literally, it said embed form spree URL here. So I literally went and called it, launch form or whatever the hell I called it, hit a button, gave me the URL, put the URL where I was told to put it on the HTML page. That was it. So it's gone within the code that I was given for the page. It's gone and seen all them code, all them different form fields, and it's just pulling the data in automatically, however the hell it does it. Unbelievable.
Wow. Wow.
Really impressive. And I obviously tested it, works great. And then you can literally just go and get it put into a Google sheet. And yeah. So I've actually learned of a few things this week doing this process of some really cool stuff that I didn't know about, you know? So yeah, it's been, but yeah. So my view on it is I'm setting it up. I said to him, you know, with the market it is, we should be able to get 500 people. I'd like to think over time you get 1,000 people on it. That's a really decent business that pays bills and gives you money the way all the other stuff I'm doing is gravy. So yeah. But that's the kind of weird thing about it is that in a perverse way, although I hate the idea of it, people are being forced to do it. So, and I got Claude to research companies offering the same, and they're a lot more money than we're going to be charging. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, that was that thing. And then outside of that, I've been getting on. I say I spent 10 hours on Sunday, which was really nice to not be in front of the computer and just thinking about the pigeons I'm keeping, the pigeons I'm selling. Yeah. So yeah, it's been apart from the Monday stroke Tuesday news, which I didn't want to hear. It's been a good week, and as a result, I haven't even had time to turn to look at my little Linux box. I did. I think I sent you the link to it. I did look at another thing a guy I follow on Facebook's put together, but I'm not doing that. I'm just going to stick to Hermes, and I'm going to use it to. And then you start thinking, because I know I think I told you that if a friend, an ex business partner of mine, John, who's a long-term coder and what have you, that's how I thought, right, I have got to get into Hermes because of some of the stuff he was doing. Told you that on a couple of weeks ago, whenever. But actually speaking to him more, you then, like you with co-work at the minute, you think, well, I could get it doing this and I could get it doing that. And even for this business I've just been telling you about, I'm like, I can automate the shit out of this to where literally 2 forms, onboarding form and submissions form. They're the forms we need. And then like the flow of it to where literally, obviously you have to have a human involved. But that human's involvement potentially could be clicking 1 or 2 buttons. That's it.
Yep.
So then you start thinking, you know, so yeah, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah.
Cool.
Well, we'll see where we're at this time next week then.
Yeah, we will.
All right. Thank you for listening and watching, folks. Catch you next week.